really when we started this YouTube channel, it was kind of more just, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's normal for us.
Yeah.
Everything that sort of we've posted so far is kind of very normal.
Yeah, day to day, and why not share?
Basically, yeah, it was kind of like, well, let's share it.
Well, and it sort of escalated, and it was just kind of a way to just show people, because
when people ask you, so what have you been up to? It's kind of like, here you go.
Here's a video.
Well, it's a neat documentation tool, because then you've got that video of, hey, remember that time we did
X.
So that's kind of fun. Oh yeah, we're sitting here. It's Halloween night.
We're celebrating 1 year exactly 1 year ago. We came into this place. It was a miserable night. It was raining. It was so windy. And we had no bed.
We had
on nothing.
The floor, pretty much right.
No
in front
table.
of where
We didn't even unload the trailer. We drove from the other place and came in, and the trailer was parked there with a tarp on it, and the doors blew open at night, and it was the creepiest thing ever for me, because I wasn't used to a house that we have a weeping willow out front and big tall trees all along the back, and lying here at night and the wind whipping in the trees and the shadows, and it was just like it's going to fall on the house. And
every single door in the house
blew open at some point that night. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Never done it since.
Nope.
That night.
I'm not sure if that's an omen or something. And the fact that it never happened again just does kind of seem weird.
We've got crabapple liqueur.
Crabapple liqueur.
We'll put a link to that, because we did make
video.
a video on that one. So how did we get here? Well, I guess it all started with chickens. Which is probably not something other people haven't had, because most people probably don't go to the extreme that we did.
Yes.
Anyways,
if you watch any of our videos on the chickens, we breed partridge chanticleers, a rare breed of chicken, and therefore you require genetics, which means you require a rooster.
Or more
roosters than one.
And of course, when you
have
your grow outs, you have younger birds.
Yeah.
The roosters became an issue at our old place. Without getting into any details on it, because we don't really, at this point in time, it doesn't
what's past
matter.
is past, and at the time we really begrudged it. But now that we're here, a year later, we're like, this is exactly what was supposed to happen for us.
And we wonder, how did we ever do it before? We had our old place, we had 7 acres.
Split on 2 pieces of land.
It was split into 2 pieces of land, and that was the issue. Because one of the pieces of land was...
less than 2 acres.
Just less than the 2 acres. So in the township we used to live in, basically anything agricultural related was prohibited, and that
on less than a hectare.
Which
is 3 acres, I believe.
So we were just less than 3. We weren't less than 2.
No, we were less than 2.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
We weren't close to a hectare. That was the problem.
And it didn't matter that collectively we had
7 acres.
Property, 7 acres, and none of that mattered. So basically when that happened, it was kind of this decision. It's like we were kind of told, well, you can keep the animals on the other property, which the funny part with that was the other property was actually closer to the neighbor that had the issue, but...
So we did move them all over there for short term.
They went over at the beginning of August and stayed until the end of October when we finally moved everything. But basically we kind of made the decision this wasn't really going to work, because this almost 2 acres that we had
was now virtually useless.
Yeah, it was pretty much completely useless to us, because if we really wanted to split hairs about it, we weren't allowed to have gardens and all this other stuff too. So it was like, okay, this isn't going to work. So
and it became that you then felt restricted as to our vision, really, because we always had a big vision.
Well, and the worst part at that point in time, we were getting close to having things set up to where there really wouldn't have been a lot of room for growth. Not that you need to have growth.
No,
but we would have been happy with what we were doing.
It was the end of August, and it came to light that we were going to have to move the animals off of our 2 acre property. And when that happened, we made the decision very fast that we had to move. And they gave us, didn't she say 4 weeks we had to move the animals off that 2 acres?
That was the original piece, but then...
It kind of got wishy-washy, but it was one of those, we were going to have to move them, and we didn't want to have to do it in the middle of winter. And so this was already August 29th. We hadn't even listed our house for sale at that point. We didn't even know we were moving. And
up until that point.
3 days later, we listed our house. And then we started looking at properties ourselves. We looked at many properties. It was 10 days after we listed our house that we accepted an offer.
Yeah.
So we're now, I'm kind of giving you the timeline here.
Because things happened quickly.
It happened so fast, and we were just so lucky, blessed. I'm not sure how you want to look at that, but that it all worked out the way it did. But
It all
this
kind
is
of came together.
digressing from your looking at properties. We went out, of course. We'd sold our house. We had to find somewhere to move, and we had to move animals. And oh, there's a really cute little kitten trying to get up. Here, T-Bo. Oh, yes, there you go. He wants to be the star of the show. Anyways, so we jumped right into looking at property after property after property.
We looked at a couple that
we put in offers on 2 other ones.
kind of glad for one of those that we did not get it.
Yeah, we're really glad that it didn't go through one of
hindsight.
them, because it would not have happened. And would not have worked. And it's funny with this place because, you know what? At first, we did not love this place at all.
It was actually the first place we did look at.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like,
And we were like, no way. No way, not a chance, no.
And then we looked at, I don't know, half a dozen or 10 other properties sort of thing. I don't remember exactly how many. Mm-hmm. And kind of came back and went, yeah, this one actually is pretty good.
The second time we came and we looked at it, went, well, maybe, but we still put offers on the other 2 first. They want that our offers did not get accepted. Basically, they were properties that needed a lot of work to our mind. And so we kind of, it wasn't lowball, but we were basically, this is our bottom line. This is all we can offer, and they were not.
Well, and that's something that led us back to this one because we
Yeah.
kind of did the math. Which is something we do periodically on a lot of things. We did the math and we kind of went, okay, yeah, that actually does make sense.
Yeah.
And so we went for it.
Yeah.
And everything transpired, and
We offered on this place September 14th with the closing date of October 31st. It was a chain one because people were buying ours. We were buying this one, and the lady who lived here was moving to another one. So it was a 3-way chain, and it was just one heck of a day waiting for
the final moving day.
everything to come into place for our place to be signed off so that we could then sign off on this one, and they could move out. And
But
I'm so glad I never have to do it again. Fingers crossed.
Then, of course, there's the moving side of it. So because we had the 2 properties, that was actually really lucky for us because
yes, we couldn't have done it.
No, we were able to do things in like a transition sort of deal. Like we basically spent, was it 3 weeks or 2 weeks?
3 weeks we took to move.
It was 3 weeks, and we didn't move. We moved all the animals. We still had some stuff on the other property, but yeah, it was 3 weeks to move everything to this property. But the day we moved was an interesting one because the sheep, and we had 14 sheep?
No, because the rams were over on the other side across the road.
Mm-hmm.
We had
Separate.
the 10 sheep that
So
we had on our side.
All the other animals were on the other property. So, but the day we moved, the sheep were still on our side. We rented a storage unit for, was it 2 months? I think it was.
Yeah.
Kind of to see us over that transition, which again worked. It was a lot of work because you're moving things twice, but it allowed us to do things more spaced out because there was
Gradual,
no need
yeah.
to do it all at once.
And
it was an hour.
because the back of the truck was full of stuff, like the box of the truck. Then we had the trailer that had the 10 sheep. Then there was your dad's truck, which the back cab was full of stuff. Plus he had the 16-foot trailer, which had the 2 freezers on it, the fridge.
Oh, and a bunch of
because we plugged everything in on the trailer the night before.
So we didn't lose all the stuff.
So we didn't,
in the freezer.
frozen. Oh, it was just so much. And I mean,
But
other people have moved too, so everybody's done this.
I
But
think
it was...
the sheep added that extra layer to it because it was like an hour before we were supposed to be out of the house. And we didn't want to load them up too early because it's 10 sheep in a trailer.
Yeah, we were waiting for the call that had gone through before we loaded them in.
And they didn't want to go.
And they wouldn't go into the trailer.
And that was kind of ultra
There was a lot of swearing.
Yeah, that was yeah. But we did get them in. Literally, as we pulled out of the driveway, it started to rain.
Yeah.
And in going, like what you said about the first night here, it was a big storm.
It was an adventure.
Yeah, so that was kind of the move here, and then over the next 3 weeks, we moved everything. And the last animals to come were the horses. They were the very last day before I had to go back to work.
Yeah.
And we're so glad that worked out well. But they were the most forgiving in that, where we had them. You could just leave them out. You could give them a bit of hay and kind of leave them.
Yeah, we'd once a day be able to go and check on them and, and be okay.
We didn't have. Yeah, you only had that little drive back and forth. But,
well, when we got here, we had to do pens. We had to do fencing.
We had to build the pen out front. We had to build that fence.
Yeah, the one that the pigs
one
are
side,
in now.
The one side was there, but the other
cows.
sides weren't. And we needed something because we couldn't leave the sheep locked in the barn all winter. It was a lot of work, and.
But it was good, and you know. The moment it was done, we just, and you know, when we were talking about that we were almost set up back at the old place, we've always wanted to homestead. We always viewed ourselves as homesteaders. We've always, well, okay, Chris and I have been together for almost 7 years, I guess 7 years now. And we've always done the gardening and the livestock. We weren't new to homesteading before we moved here. Is where I'm going with this. And it is something that this property has really opened up a lot more opportunities for us with that.
Well, and that's something that we've, I don't know, we've talked about a lot, even right kind of after the move, of just, despite all the work it's still taken, everything, and it doesn't feel like this every day, but most things just feel so much easier here. They work better, like...
Except for the fencing.
Well, no, that does too, because our old place, we only had about 1 foot to 1.5 foot of soil over, I think it was a sandstone bedrock, so that created all sorts of its own problems. Whereas now we've got lots of soil depth, but occasionally hard soil, which make for different challenges. That's sort of our story in a very brief, condensed version. We're not bitter about it at all. I mean, when you're going through it, you don't always feel that way. But coming out the other end of it, it's, I don't know, in some ways things happen the way they happen for a reason, I suppose. So you may not feel it at the time because it sort of feels like quite the insurmountable challenge, but I mean, we're here now, and we're a year in.
And loving it.
Loving it. Nowhere near done, but in some ways you're never.
Are you ever done?
We're a lot closer than as we move in on completing Pasture 2 this weekend, hopefully.
He's dreaming.
We're doing good, but it's just that realization of, like, the possibilities are far, far, far greater here than they ever were at the old place.
Basically, what we're trying to do this week is answer some of the questions that we've gotten over time. One of the things I will say about Hickorycroft Farm and our channel is we do a lot of stuff.
Like you say, not being new to homesteading, farming, whatever you want to call it, which is another video we do have planned to talk about. As the seasons change and as the years go by, like the jobs, the tasks, the whatever you want to call it, they sort of change with those seasons, and yeah, you'll see a lot of that.
And if you have any questions you'd like answered or anything that you've always wondered about us, because we're just so intriguing. Don't be shy. Ask it down below and we will definitely answer on the next video. This is our 100th video. 1 year on the farm. Yep. And we're so excited about what's to come next year.
Yep, exactly.